These are zones of control. So if we've got a dark blue zone, this is an area of pitch that the possession was pretty balanced. It was almost 50-50. A red zone represents where Arsenal would have had 55% or more. A sky blue zone where City would have dominated the ball. City attacking this way. This is Donnarumma in goal, attacking this way. And you can see this central area of the pitch completely dominated by the sky blue of Manchester City. Also this area here, Semenya in attack. And also on this left-hand side where Jeremy Doku was trying to isolate and go one-on-one against Mosquera with the support of O'Reilly behind him. So City dominating, Jamie, this central area. How key to all that were the two men in midfield for them, Rodri and Bernardo Silva?
Well, I think Rodri and Bernardo Silva gave one of the greatest performances as a pair I've probably seen in the Premier League, and there's been some great midfielders who we highlighted last week, and maybe I should do that list again on the back of what we saw at the weekend. But for me, the game was won in midfield. And I just want to look at both teams' setups without the ball, because there's a lot of talk today about how sort of adventurous or how on the front foot Arsenal were. Now, they were without the ball. Now, I just want to look at what happened initially. Now, we talk about a man-to-man press all over the pitch. I want to highlight Rodri and Silva, got Declan Rice and Odegaard coming right up the backside so they can't get that ball into the players there. So, really aggressive. Man for man on this back line. We highlighted this with Arsenal a few weeks ago, actually. They didn't go long enough at times into their strikers, but City are not shy in doing that. And straight away, it's into Haaland, and before you know it, first minute or so in the game, you think we've got a game here. It's only just blocked before Doku can get away. So, again, we go back to this fixture a couple of weeks ago in the Carabao Cup final. We know Arsenal had a huge problem trying to play past this front four. So, from goal kicks, they had a different setup. Saliba was in the place where Mosquera was, and Mosquera was just higher up in a normal right-back position. So, they went slightly differently. But the plan was, when you actually see the setup, where Arsenal have got a front four, the midfield players are higher than what they were a few weeks ago, because the plan was to go long and bypass this front four. And we can see this with the stats now. We see here, so goal kicks from 1 minute to number 75, only one goal short. I think it's this one, and it's a little bit of a mix-up. I think the gatekeeper's going to go long, but he has a poor touch. And it wasn't until very late in the game that they started going short, and that was only because the game was so open. So the plan was to beat this front four, we're going to go long. But this is the first one, just to highlight what the plan was. We can see it's a slightly different setup with Saliba in this position, and he's very lucky he doesn't do a Donnarumma. So you talk about being brave without the ball. So I highlighted Rodri and Bernardo Silva. Look at the courage he is now on the ball there, taking it on the 6-yard box, not rolling it to the keeper to go long, running it out, bringing it out, because they can't then be pressed. The Arsenal players can't come in the 6-yard box. But what happens? They win the ball back, because Arsenal's press in those first 15 minutes was absolutely fantastic. They won the ball back, I think, 7 times. Yeah, here it is. They won the ball back the most they've done in the first 15 minutes this season, 6 times more than they've done,
well, that
as I said.
Tells you about their aggression and their plan.
Exactly, and fair play to them. It was fantastic to see press. But the courage of Manchester City players, you lose the ball there in the first 5 or 6 minutes. Let's go to the next clip. That was Bernardo Silva. So again, they're not in these areas. Look at Declan Rice, he's not sure. I can't go any further. Look at Rodri there. Stops there.
But I think
so
also,
they're deeper.
Also, they're the best players are problem solvers.
Yeah.
You know, it's being humble enough to go, actually, they've got us here early on. Physically, we're maybe not up to them, but mentally, they've gone, actually, we'll change our positions. We'll see if you can then handle, and the best players do that.
And you're absolutely spot on. And what they've done is they've seen a problem. We're going to give you a problem now. But what I talk about, I keep talking about courage without the ball. It's easy to have courage without the ball. The courage to go and get the ball on your 6-yard box off your goalkeeper in a game of this magnitude, absolutely outstanding. So what happens then is Silva and Rodri end up in your back four. They're your centre-backs now, in your back four. They take the ball. So we've seen them lose it early on with Silva, with Declan Rice. It doesn't stop them getting it again, does it? That's real courage. Getting on the ball and being brave, and then playing through that press of Arsenal.
So Ryan Cherky was the scorer of the first goal, and he had a moment 20 seconds before he actually scored in a very similar position. So we've set it up. We've got 20 seconds before he scored. and the moment he actually scored on the right-hand side. So what are the key differences here, Jamie?
Well, we're just going to let it run on the one that he misses and then see the one that he scores. And then we're going to analyse the differences and what happened. And this all happened really in the same action. So you see Ryan Cherky there, similar position. Gabriel comes across and Arsenal clear the ball. And then we're going to look on this side, and this is where the goal is. It's all part of the same sequence, but it's very similar. So he has one opportunity, they stop him. This time, they don't. Now, Gabriel should do a lot better for a player of that level. But I want to look at the role of the midfield players again. Bernardo Silva skipping past Declan Rice. Bernardo Silva involved again. Fantastic. Now he slips it into Cherky. Now you've got 5 players around him in this space. But the big difference is Zubimendi is here in that role, a little bit deeper. And as we run it on, he comes across and just shadows him out. But you just watch Zubimendi now. So he's gone from one side really deep on the defender's toes. He now thinks or knows it's my job as well to fill these half spaces here. So this time he's with Nico O'Reilly. They can't get the ball in here. The ball comes across quickly and he can't get over. So now you've got a situation where we stop it. Now as he gets the ball, it's now 4 players. Now, that is still a very difficult proposition for any player in Wales football. But 1 player less, slightly more space. Zubimendi has gone one side. He can't get across the other. Now he's just got that little bit more space that he needs. Cherky here in this position. But this is all about an absolute magician who's been an absolute revelation in our league team.
Yeah, he's a superstar. And this side of his left foot, just there as he flicks, the flick's perfect. They know they can't tackle him when they're in the area, and he's totally in control, and that's when you know you've got a Maverick superstar and you celebrate like a Maverick.
Yeah. So now they get the goal. They think everything's hunky-dory. Before you know it, we're at the other end. And I just wanted to look at this, and I thought Kai Havertz was absolutely fantastic. Look at Kai Havertz's body position now. The ball hasn't even left Nunez's hands, and he's already on his way. You're talking about the smallest details here in terms of trying to gain an advantage.
Well, I think also I think he knows what he's doing. He's trying to position himself, so he's slightly hidden behind Kursanov and Donnarumma. This is purely him trying to be an opportunist in terms of taking a chance here, but just being hidden to give him an extra split second to go and chase that down.
What I wanted to mention was because he was so alive, it made me think, because you think of the details these managers go into. We think we're doing detail on Monday Night Football, probably nothing like what Pep Guardiola and Mikel Arteta are going to. So when I saw the fact he'd gone so quickly when the ball was still in his hands, I'm thinking, is that something they've spotted, that Nunez goes back to the goalkeeper? So I think I'd found something clever. But would you believe Nunez's throw-ins this season, 177, he's gone back to the goalkeeper once.
Do you think he's going to do it again?
He will never do that again, I can assure you. But brilliant from Kai Havertz, and again it goes back to the press from Arsenal was fantastic in that first half, and it's the pressing that gets them a goal and gets them back into the game. You see it from this angle as well. Listen, it's a huge mistake of a game at this level, but brilliant from Havertz, who I think throughout the game played a huge part in it, and we'll get to that shortly.
Yeah, and here we can see it on the game view as well. And you can see what you were talking about, Dean. He just tries to stay a little bit hidden before he acts.
Look, again, the best players aren't ever switched off. They're always, and any good striker should be sort of gambling on what might happen, what could happen. I think that's your job as a striker, is to anticipate what might happen. It might not come off, but you should be anticipating constantly.
Moving into the second half, and that comparison between those 2 players on the City midfield and the 2 in the Arsenal midfield, and straight away your eye is caught by the successful passes, where if you add Rice and Zubimendi's totals up, you get to 20, which is fewer than either Rodri or Bernardo Silva had. Their passing accuracy drops off. Zubimendi doesn't actually make a pass in the final third in that second half at all. Line-breaking passes, just 1 between the 2 of them, and that's from Declan Rice, compared to the 15 that Rodri and Bernardo Silva have made. And then you wonder, are they doing more work without the ball? But no, because the pressure's forcing turnover. Again, it's Rodri and Bernardo Silva that had 14 combined to the Arsenal pair's 6, and they've only won possession back 4 times as well. Was that key to the way the game progressed?
Yeah, and it felt like it was the same in the Carabao Cup final, where those two in midfield just went to a completely different level. But I mentioned earlier on, Arsenal's press was fantastic. They get the goal from it. But there's a difference between having courage in pressing. It's easy. No one can stop you doing something without the ball. We've both been players. Sometimes you're in a big atmosphere. It's a huge game. There's a lot on the line. Sometimes players don't really want the ball. And I could probably include ourselves at different times. You're only human. That was the big difference in the game. There was courage for Manchester City with and without the ball. Arsenal didn't have it with the ball. So it comes in here now. Now, we did this last week with Arsenal, didn't we, in terms of playing out. Now, you're talking about a situation with a 7v4, including your goalkeeper. You've got to get out. You've got to be brave on the ball. These players don't want the ball. This ball can go to Saliba. This ball can be chipped to Mosquera. Odegaard's dropping deep. Havertz is in here. We've seen Bernardo Silva and Rodri in these positions taking the ball. That's why when I hear sort of all the plaudits Arsenal have had today, not with the ball, they weren't brave enough. No courage on the ball, and a hopeful ball goes forward and Manchester City bring the ball back. Now, another point I want to get to, we just hold it there. We just take it back, because this is really important in terms of the winning goal. Now, where I've said they were brave, Arsenal, was in the press, high pressing. But if you're going to high press, you've got to accept that times you could get caught out. Because the whole point of pressing high is you win the ball up high and you've got a great chance of going forward. Okay? If you get caught out, then you're going to leave something behind. So there was a lot of criticism around Martinelli on the winning goal. I think it's harsh, and I'll tell you why. What I've just said. If you're going to take a chance to press, you've got to take the rough with the smooth. So as this ball comes across, keep an eye on Martinelli. And don't forget, the idea at the start of the game is to press high and be aggressive. So he presses here. That ball is on here to leave Mosquera in a 2v1. So that's the chance you take when you press high. You can see that pass is on there. But he now wins a tackle. That tackle leads to Arsenal having a chance at 1-1 to go 2-1 up. And that wins them the league. That chance here goes in. The league's won. So Martinelli has taken the chance to go and win Arsenal the league. And the fact that he misses it, great save, and it was actually Bernardo Silva who was back there defending. Now I go back to the courage on the ball and think about Rodri and Bernardo Silva. And the flip side, especially with Zubamendi. We highlighted him last week. Zubamendi now, that's your European champion for Spain. That's the guy you've brought in to get on the ball, take the ball in difficult situations, in tough arenas. You're going for the league away at Man City. That's not good enough. That is not good enough. That's what you're in the team for. That's what you've been bought for. That then leads to that goalkeeper picking the ball up, and then the decision for Martinelli. Does he press the centre-back or does he stay with the left back? We've seen the chance you take. Sometimes you get something from it, sometimes you lose something from it. They could have won the league a few minutes before. Then you look at Declan Rice here. Declan Rice likes being on the left of central midfield. That's why he's urging Zubamendi now to get across. Zubamendi can't get across, and he hasn't got the legs to get across also. Keep an eye on Odegaard as well. He's telling Martinelli to come here. And then you see his reaction. So, yeah, of course, you can say he's got us wrong, but if you're going to press high, you're taking a chance. And then it leads to the goal. Really good from Man City, one end to the other. I mean, this battle was fantastic. I loved it. Haaland, big centre-forward up against the big centre-back, get off. But the thing I loved was this guy, Rodri. If he doesn't make that run, if he doesn't make that big challenge, the defender clears it. This doesn't even get there. So again, we're going back to Bernardo Silva and Rodri yet again. And for me, that's where the game was won, in midfield.
3 points still the difference. Arsenal still leading the way. I was trying to convince people yesterday in the Super Sunday studio, Dean, that it could still be Arsenal's title, but no one was really having it. What do you think?
I think it's very difficult. I think mentally they've taken a knock, both with the cup final defeat, the Bournemouth performance, and then even though, you know, some positives from that performance, to lose again, I think it's really difficult to pick yourselves up. And what Manchester, when we talk about experience, Carragher just highlighted it there. Players that understand the pressures can still produce their best in those difficult moments and navigate their way through.
Arsenal and Man City, every game in this title run-in.